Thank you. And Ms. Kent?
Yes, I am Wendy Kent.
Thank you. Mr. Bishaw?
Yes, I'm Dan Bishaw.
Bishaw, thank you.
Yep.
All right. As I said, we are here for custody and parenting time modification motion. I have gone through the file, so everyone's clear. I've read the pleadings. You're welcome to give an opening statement if you'd like. I'll give you that option. We'll start with Mr. Perlman.
Yes, briefly. Thank you. So, so my client, again, she shares a very strong bond with her son Daniel. She offers love, affection. She provides consistent guidance, and she always ensures that he's nurtured and both emotionally and mentally. The child has when in her care. Understanding the importance of consistency of environment and how paramount that is. Ms. Kent's home, who shares with her both of her parents and her brother, offers a very wholesome, permanent family unit. It's something absent in defendant's residence, Mr. Bishaw's residence, where again he was living in a at this time I believe he's living with his sister, and I'm not sure if that's on a temporary basis or not. But it's undisputed that that Mr. Bishaw was living with his girlfriend, who he and her both have extensive criminal records, and he obviously has significant issues have continuously led him down this path. There was an incident where he was driving drunk with the child in the back seat, and there was an incident, various incidents where both Mr. Bishaw and his then girlfriend or current girlfriend were both arrested at the same time, and the child was present, which led to him being incarcerated for several months, where my client had the child primarily during that time, and everything was fine. She's a very strong support system. She's a loving mother. Nowhere in the history of her parenting time, since this court has issued an order, have there been any noted issues? In terms of what's gone on during her parenting time, and there's never been anything inappropriate or anything that would. It's been an encouraging, helpful environment to the child, and that continues to this day. My client and the child have a very strong relationship. Again, we're asking that the court modify the current parenting time schedule, awarding my client sole physical custody, whereby she be the primary custodial parent, and father can get weekends, whether it's 3 weekends a month, every other weekend, or every weekend. My client is willing to agree to that, but she offers a very wholesome household, and she'll ensure that the child has a place, his own room, and will ensure that he is attending school and that his attendance is superb, and ensure that he has a healthy, well-balanced upbringing. Again, nothing over the last few years, even though her parenting time, obviously she wasn't the primary custodial parent, she's demonstrated all the necessary character traits that it requires to be a well-balanced, good parent. And we're just asking, we believe there's been a significant change of circumstances, and that in totality, which we'll get into, it's in the best interest of the minor child.
Thank you. Mr. Bishaw, would you like to give an opening statement? As you could tell, an opening statement is it's just an argument about what you think the evidence will play out. Okay. It's not, you'll have an opportunity to testify if you choose, or if Mr. Perlman calls you as a witness, but so this isn't your testimony. I'm not swearing you in or anything. But you're able to give an argument at this time if you'd like, or you could even reserve until it's time for you to present evidence. I'll leave that choice to you.
No, I'd like to say a few things.
Thank you.
He is wrong on several things here. I was not incarcerated for several months over drinking and driving with my child, ever. It has nothing to do with that. And I don't have no long living girlfriend. I don't have no girlfriend living with me or nothing. And, yeah, my home was fine. I had it checked out by the CPS, Protective Services, everybody else. And yep, I have a great supporting family, and we all love him and take care of him. And he buys, everybody buys it. He got everything he needs. And yeah, we have an awesome bond. And I do everything for his needs, and his love and affection, and his mental and well-being, and is everything all around.
Thank you. Mr. Perlman, your first witness.
Okay. If I may call, is my client's mother still in the waiting room?
Tell you
Yes.
anything, so, and since you can't get your
Yeah.
audio.
Okay. Hi.
You can hear Ms. Kent. I don't want you to think that
Oh, you can hear. You just
Let me-
can't say stuff.
Referee, I can work that out with them. We'll just call, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. We can just call Philip first, and then we can come back to this once they work
Yeah.
Oh,
out.
sure. That's up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do that. It'll
All
be
right.
simple. Correct.
All right. So, they're sharing the phone, which is not a problem, just as long as Ms. Kent knows, and I've explained this, not to talk to the witnesses. And then Ms. Kowalski likely will be using the phone in this manner, but we'll just swap out Mr. Allison. Okay. So, Mr. Allison, if you'd raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All the truth. Yes, Your Honor.
And
Thank you, Mr. Perlman.
Miss Wendy Kent, who's standing behind you today. How do you Miss Kent from working with her? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's my understanding you've known each other for about 2.5, 3 years.
Yes, sir. 2.5
Okay.
years now.
Oh, okay. All right. And what is your relationship to the family?
To the family, I'm very good friends with the family, I guess. Her brothers, her mother, father.
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
with them on a basis where I can see them all interact together
Okay. And
over the 2.5 years.
Okay. And have you had a chance to meet Daniel, the minor child?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had a chance to see my client interact with him?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And how would you describe Miss Kent as a mother?
In general, a loving, caring, giving, attentive, a normal mother. I'm a father of 2, so I can give that kind of judgment. She is a very good mom. She's on every need that he needs, or everything that needs to be done as a mother. Interacting with her son is normal. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't go that far, but I'm just saying that it's a lot better than my ex-wife was with my own 2 daughters. I wish she was the mother to my 2 daughters.
And
As opposed to my ex-wife.
okay. And have you observed the child? Is the child also affectionate towards her?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. He doesn't want to be away from his mom at
Okay.
all. When they're together, they're together.
Okay. And and how old is the child approximately? I know you're not.
5 years.
Okay.
He just turned 5 just last month.
Okay. And are there any examples? I mean, in terms of you were around, especially with the last few months when Daniel was living with Miss Kent, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you again, you kind of describe their interaction. Did she seem to create necessary boundaries in terms of bedtimes or
Yes. She made a structured environment here. And, you know, she has great backup. You know, her mom is there, her dad, and her brothers are always in and out here. So they have, Daniel has his cousins to play with and interact with, all different ages. Each one of her brothers are parents themselves. And Wendy is, I mean, she's fantastic. I have not witnessed anything out of the ordinary. And I mean this, I'm swearing under testimony right now that would suggest that she has any issues to deal with any problem, she can handle it, is what I'm trying to say. You know, she always was attentive and anything, you know, boy fell down, scraped his knee or, you know, whatever, playing, there was never an issue.
Right.
She's a very good parent, in my
And-
opinion. That's
Okay.
just my opinion.
Okay. Well, that's why you're here. So, and what you've observed,
She's very, very structured too, as far as trying to be on time, bringing the boy back. I know you get late here and there, but as far as picking up Daniel from Dan or Matt or Candy, she's, you know, she tries to work with them, not tries, she does work with them.
okay.
So,
In
you know,
terms
which
of-
is all part of this.
Okay. And I think when we spoke the other day, you mentioned that, you know, the family in general is very Christian oriented. They go to church.
Yes. Go to
Okay.
church. The whole Kent family is a good structured unit, I have to say. I
Okay.
mean, they all care about one another. They're all here for each other's birthdays. One just moved away. Aaron just moved away. He's out west now. He's in the Air Force or Army.
That's exactly what
You
I.
can't say
have to
anything
do,
when you-
Ms. Kent.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that, Your Honor. But
It's not your fault, sir, but Ms.
yes, sir.
Kent,
Thank you. Have you, so in terms of the day-to-day routine, who's responsible for, does she make the child dinner, meals, bathe, you know, make
Yes.
sure the child's bathed? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, she had a normal like structured time for everything. I mean, there was times, you know, like for Memorial Day weekend or whatever that, you know, you could stay up a little bit later. Family was all together. But yes, bedtime, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that was set up between certain points of time. And sometimes in our lives, you understand we can't be exactly 12 o'clock noon for lunch or something like that. But yes, everything was very much structured. And really she did it on her own. I mean, her mom didn't have to intercede, or Wendy doesn't need to be watched or have someone look over her shoulder to be a mom. She's a great mom. And I'm not saying that because I like her and I've known her for 2 years, and her work ethic and all that is just fabulous. I mean, spectacular. I'm saying that from being a father myself. I have a 27-year-old and a 25-year-old and 2 daughters I raised. And she is really, really a good mother. You know, the structuring of bath time, bedtime, laundry, just the whole routine. She has it down. I mean, it's not like she has to have anyone in her ear telling her what to do, how to act. It's just a natural thing with her.
And I guess, you have any experience with her or with observing her, or do you believe that these traits would transfer to ensuring that, you know, encouraging and influencing the child's attendance in school and
Yes.
okay,
She had reading times with him, even during the months, because he has trouble saying certain words in that. And she would read, have him read. She would break down words into syllables for him. As far as being able to be up in time to have the boy to school, if that's what you're asking, or pick him up, yeah, there would not be an issue at all with that, in my personal opinion of what I witnessed.
okay.
Let's
Have
put it
you-
this way. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter, and I would leave Wendy with her all day, all night, and not have to worry,
Okay.
at all.
Have you witnessed any substance abuse pertaining to Wendy or in her home?
Absolutely not. This whole family is anti-drug. I don't know what was before while she was, you know, prior to me knowing her, but since I've been with her, and I got her into her career now as an operating engineer. I was the one that facilitated that because I believed in her. First off, how I met her was through work and work ethic. Okay. And I would have never got her into the operating engineers union had she been any type of substance abuse. I never witnessed that. I never seen it. I know what to look for. I've had my friends that I grew up with, okay, and I grew up in Detroit, ask me, please, Phil, get me in, get me in. I would. She's the first and only person I put my name behind to put forth to the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 324 Detroit. I backed her because I believed in her. There is no substance abuse
Okay.
that I've witnessed or seen since I've known her.
And you, were you correct in your analysis of her work ethic? Does she have a strong work ethic?
Extremely strong.
Okay.
You know, it's pretty strenuous being what we do. It's a 6 day a week, 10 hours a day minimum. And, you know, we run heavy machinery. We build pipelines, maintain them. And that's what I got her into, was the pipeline aspect of the unionized operating engineers.
And it's my understanding that you're in your profession, just probably because you're dealing with, given you know what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, there's regular drug testing.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's right from the get, and then it's random, and it could be once a week. It could be, I mean, you don't know when they're coming, but they'll come and they'll pull 4 or 5 people off a crew and be like, "Okay, guys, it's time to test."
Okay.
And it has to be that way out there.
Okay. And why is that?
Because we're running heavy machinery and we're building pipelines across the, you know, vast areas. And some people out there have a tendency, since they legalized marijuana here, they think that it's okay to do that. You cannot run heavy machinery on any type of substance out there. You got to be clear. You have to be focused. I've been in this union for 23 years, and it's even me. I know it's part of my job. They're going to come and test. Okay. They test even for now, some kind of synthetic urine or something like this. Now people have been trying to use, and they got away with it for a while, and now that can even be detected. And Wendy is, since I've been working with her, has never tested positive, and I haven't either in 23 years of being with this union.
And these are frequent tests?
Pretty frequent. I mean, you don't know. It's not a for sure thing that you might even be tested. You might go a whole project, not get tested. But more than likely, you're going to be, if it's a 6 month to 7 month project, you're going to be tested once on a random, you know. And if we don't want it to happen, if there's something where you bump into something, like if I'm running my tractor or my side boom and I back into a vehicle or something like that, you're instantly tested. And thank God I haven't had anything like that happen.
Okay. And have you ever witnessed any violence from Wendy?
No, none at all.
Okay.
She's the most caring, loving, giving person that one of the most caring, loving, giving people I've ever met.
Okay.
Give you the shirt off her back, you know, if she had one underneath.
Okay.
So to say.
And despite perhaps their differences, does Wendy, I mean, does she still encourages, or I should say, she doesn't criticize Mr. Bishaw in front of the child?
Never.
Okay.
That's something that I've never witnessed. I can't, you know, as far as me being around and her saying something bad about Daniel's father, no, not in front of the boy.
Okay.
Ever. She doesn't even bring that up. When she's with him, she just is in you know, in the mom zone, I guess.
Okay. And is there anything else that you'd like to express as to your observations regarding her ability?
I want to say that no one put me up to this except me. I just wanted to say the things I have said because these are the things I've witnessed. I had an ex-wife. I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it does, because I had an ex-wife that when I went through my divorce, just handed me my children. It was like, she just didn't want to be a mom no more. Wendy wants to be a mom, and it hurts her that she can't just be a normal mom, to where she can sleep with her boy or, you know, be in the same house overnight. I don't know what happened 4.5 years ago. I was not around, so I can't speculate on any of that, but I'm saying for right now, while I've known her, she wants to be with her kid, with Daniel. I'm sorry. She wants to be with Daniel every moment of every day. If they could split it up and get things done to where, you know, like normal divorced or separated people are, that's the way I could see her flourishing. And the boy would be happy too. He's always happy to be with his mom. He can't wait to, get here and see grandma and grandpa and play and have a good time, be a young boy, a young man.
Okay. And he's also around other, his cousins when he's there?
Well, when they come around, yes.
Okay.
Because, everyone's got, Brian's got, all her brothers, all 4 of her brothers have children, and they all love Daniel, so.
Okay. Do you have,
They're sad when he can't come over for Christmas, because whatever the reasons are, I'm not going to get into, or a holiday that, they're supposed to split up, and for whatever reason, there's, no call, no show, and it kills her. Mother's Day killed her this year again.
Yeah.
Couldn't see her son on Mother's Day. Everyone's saying they're working together. I don't know. I'm not going to get in the middle
do you
of all
think-
that. I just know how she's affected when she cannot see her son, especially on Mother's Day. I never did that to my ex-wife. I couldn't do that.
Okay. Do you think Ms. Kent possesses the tools to work together in a cordial co-parenting arrangement?
I think she can. Yes. To answer that, simply yes.
Okay. Very
Yes.
good.
Without elaborating.
Okay. I have no further questions for you at this point. Thank you.
Well,
Mr. Bishaw, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, as a matter of fact, your testimony wouldn't have anything to do with you and Wendy being a couple or anything like that, no, correct?
I don't understand the question, Dan. We're together, so.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not what are you trying to say? Like it's biased or
No,
it's not a non-biased opinion. I'm just.
Well, sir, it's not, Mr. Allison, you're not asking questions he's asking that because you introduced yourself as a coworker. You never said anything about dating relationships. So it's fair.
Yes, we're friends. Very good friends, Your Honor.
So it's okay for him to ask that. And then, sir, you just answer questions as asked. Mr. Bishaw.
Okay.
is asking.
Sure. Go ahead, Dan. Fire
Well,
away.
I was wondering that because, I know you guys been together for, a couple years, whatnot. Because at one time there in East Jordan at McDonald's, when your wife or ex-wife down there in the altercation.
I don't have a wife. I'm not married, Dan.
Well, okay, your ex-wife. And
She's not an ex-wife.
Mr. Allison,
Okay.
Just wait for the
you have to
question.
wait to answer the questions. It's not time for you to argue with Mr. Bishaw.
Okay.
You just sit there, listen to the question and answer it.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
So it's a pretty simple process. You just listen, answer, he'll ask, and then you're all set. Okay.
Sorry about that, Dan. Go ahead.
I just wondered that because, that little altercation that happened over at East Jordan with, I don't know if she's your girlfriend at the time, whatever, and you still supposed to be out of state, and here you're over there bringing Wendy to get to pick the boy.
No,
and
I'm
stuff.
sorry. I would object to the narrative portion of the statement. It's not really a question. It's kind of,
I think he's trying to get to it. I understand what you're saying, but
I know.
Mr. Bishaw, so the objection is, and I agree, is you ask questions and then the witness answers. So if you're wanting to make statements, that will come later if you choose, or if Mr. Perlman calls you as a witness.
Okay.
So it's just the simplest way to say it is it's question and answers, and that's it. You ask questions, he has to answer, and we don't.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Yep. I guess that was just my question, that your testimony had any weight bearing on you guys being a couple, and that is all, I guess.
And he's asked and answered.
He didn't answer that. He argued about why he needs to answer the question.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir. Dan, I see Mr. Perlman, not Dan right now. To answer your question, we are co-workers, good friends. Yes, sir. Okay. And we were driving back from Minnesota. If you remember, Dan, 14 hours, we would come together rather than her drive by herself. We were working on that project up there in northern Minnesota, Enbridge Line 3. And yes, we did come back together, and we'd ride together all the way back 14 hours to see Daniel. And yes, Monica did show up. But again, as I explained with Monica, she knew we were working together. It was nothing unknown to her, sir. But she just thought something else was going on at that time. I don't see Dan. I see Jeff.
Okay.
Not that I don't mind looking at you.
If you're on a phone, you may
Yeah.
need to swipe it over because you're likely only
Oh.
seeing the person talking, because now you can probably see me.
Oh, I see everyone now. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
All
There
right,
you
good deal. All right,
Oh.
I don't know how to do this. I'm
go.
sorry, Your
No,
Honor.
no, it's no problem. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any further questions for this witness?
No, I mean, honestly, I don't really know the guy. He said he would bring Wendy every time for a visit to pick him up and stuff like that.
Any further questions?
No.
Any redirect, Mr. Perlman?
No. Not at
Thank
this-
you, Mr. Allison. You're all set.
Thank you,
And
Dan.
then, so if I can
Jeff.
explain a little bit, you're welcome to listen to the proceedings at this time, but you're not able to tell Ms. Kent what to say, okay?
Oh,
So I'm not, but I want to be clear because I know we're having some logistical issues. We're using her phone for everybody. I just
Right.
want to make it clear that for you, you've testified. You can listen to whatever you want, okay? But you can't be talking to Ms. Kent while she's listening to the proceedings. That's all, okay?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. There's just no, yeah, all right, we got it. So, Mr. Perlman, your next witness, please.
Yes, Ms. Ken, if we'd like to call your mother, if you could bring your phone to her.
Yep, 1 second. Yeah, I'll find her.
Is that okay?
Yeah, what I was going to say, once we get settled here.
Here she
I'll
is.
wait on it.
All right, Mom.
Hi,
Hi there, Ms. Kolsky, what is your relationship to Wendy Kent?
I'm her mother.
Okay, and what is, so you're the grandmother of Daniel?
Correct.
Okay, and it's my understanding that Wendy currently lives with you, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and you also live with your husband?
yes,
Is that correct? Okay, and have you had an opportunity to see Wendy parent her child?
yes.
Okay, and how would you describe Wendy as a mother?
She is an excellent mother. She has really grown a lot from the past, and she's doing so much better. She's, like I said, an excellent mom. She's considerate about her son's needs, his wants. She's really good with him.
Okay, have you again over the last couple years, you've had a chance to be a part of and witnessed much of their time together. Is that fair to
Yes.
say?
Yes,
Okay. And have you ever witnessed anything inappropriate on behalf of Wendy with the child?
never,
Okay. And
not at any time.
okay. And how would you describe your household in general? Is it a pretty how would you describe your household, I guess?
Pretty loving, caring, really good.
Okay. I understand that, every family has their arguments and issues, but does everyone pretty much live in, harmony there and get along well?
Yes,
Okay. And how's your relationship with the child?
it's really good. He's an excellent grandson,
Okay. And go ahead.
and he loves his mom to pieces. He won't let her go when he's around her.
Okay. Do you think that Wendy needs your supervision or anyone's supervision in parenting her son?
No, not
Okay.
at all,
And why do you say that?
because she doesn't.
Okay.
She's grown a lot since the past, and she's a great mom, and she has integrity, and she's really good with him.
Okay. And how many children do you have?
I have 5.
Okay.
I have 7, counting my husband's other 2 children, but I have 5.
Okay. And do the other siblings live in the area?
Yes,
Okay. So do you are there often gatherings at your home and
yes,
okay. And how does the child get along with his extended family? You have 4 sons?
yes.
So how
And
does
he loves his uncles unconditionally. He likes to play with them, and he goes, He goes and plays with everybody. He takes
how-
his turns with all of us.
And how does Wendy get along with her brothers?
Excellent.
They're close knit family?
Yes,
Okay,
very close. Yep.
you did something right, man.
What? Thank you.
And is there any violence in your household that or is it, I mean, have you witnessed, I mean, I guess any violence in your household, or again, is it
No,
okay? Okay. And in terms of just on a day-to-day, have you observed in terms of her, Ms. Kent's diligence, her ability to properly guide the child, to make sure that he has food, to make sure that he's bathed, to make sure his medical needs are met, to make sure that he's disciplined if necessary. What have you observed in terms of those factors?
she's did all of those all the time with the food and the discipline.
Okay.
He listens really well.
Okay. Does she have to yell at him, or is she?
Never. Nope. She doesn't have to yell at him.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of currently, have you do you have any reason to believe that your daughter has any substance abuse issues or anything to that effect at this time?
No, none. None
Okay.
whatsoever.
Okay. Is there anything that you feel is at all inhibiting her ability to parent?
I didn't understand that. What was you saying?
Is there anything that you feel that she lacks as a parent that you're concerned about?
No. Nope. I have no concerns.
Okay.
She doesn't lack anything.
Okay. Do you know Mr. Bishaw?
Yes.
Okay. And are you you're familiar with the situation where again the child was staying with you for a consecutive period of time because Mr. Bishaw was in jail?
Right.
Okay. And what I guess what have been, in terms of the parties' willingness to co-parent, what have been your observations of Mr. Bishaw?
To co-parent,
Yes.
he doesn't always follow through with agreements. He
Okay.
doesn't want her to have overnights. He's never let her have that opportunity to have overnights.
Okay. And
He-
do you feel are you concerned about the environment that the child's in when in Mr. Bishaw's care?
Yes,
And why is that?
because of drugs and drinking and for being in jail.
Okay. And use drugs and drinking, is that just pertaining to Mr. Bishaw or people he's living with, or what is your understanding? If you
I
don't know,
just-
you don't know.
I'm not sure on all that, but
Okay.
I do know it's not good. When my
Okay.
daughter was there, it wasn't good.
Okay. And do you have is there anything else that you would like to tell the court in terms of why you think, well, I guess what do you think would be the best interest of the minor child? What do you think would be in terms of the parenting time arrangement?
I guess,
I guess I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you feel that the child should live with mother primarily? What are your thoughts on that?
yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. And why is that?
For the nurturing of a mother.
Okay. And do you have any reason to concerns about the child being able to make it to and from school when in Miss Kent's care?
No,
Okay. And will do you believe that Miss Kent and then of course if you're living there as well, will make the necessary efforts to ensure that he's staying on top of his schoolwork?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Is that a priority for you and your family?
Yes,
Okay. Very good. And the child has his own space and a place to stay when he's with Miss Kent?
yes,
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
you're welcome.
Okay, is there anything else you wanted to tell the court?
I can't think of anything right off.
Okay, well, thank you. You've been very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to Mr. Bishaw, I have a couple questions for you, ma'am. Does Ms. Kent live with you?
Yes,
How long has she lived with you?
she's lived with us for about 5 years now.
Okay. And you mentioned that the minor stayed with you and Ms. Kent in that home. Was that recently?
Yes.
And well, okay, I didn't ask.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, it is. And I should be more specific based on Mr. Perlman's question. This was during a time when you said that Mr. Bishaw was incarcerated?
Correct.
Okay, so during this time, do you know approximately how long that parenting time, what's called a block, was?
I'm misunderstanding what you're trying to ask me. When she had him,
Okay, let me say it this way. Are you familiar with the current court order?
I'm not sure.
Okay, do you know whether Ms. Kent, a court has permitted her to have overnights at this time?
No, they didn't.
Right, so
From the past, no.
understood. But during this time, what I'm trying to get at is during the time that Mr. Bishaw was incarcerated, can you tell me when that was? Meaning what month? You don't have to be exact on dates, but how long ago from today was that?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was in May.
Okay, sure. Yeah, and again, I'm not. Do you know about how long that period was where the minor stayed with you? That's what I was calling the block. I'm trying to figure out.
May 25th to when Candy said she had to come and get him.
So I'm a little familiar with these parties. We just had a hearing last week, actually. Was it about in July when that block of parenting time ended, ma'am?
I think so.
Okay. I know this is a sort of a long road to get to, but all I was really wondering is during that time, the minor was spending overnights with Ms. Kent. Is that correct?
Correct.
In
And
your
he
home?
loved it. He loved it here. Yes.
And can you describe how the overnights went? What your role was, what Ms. Kent's role was during this time, how the child behaved?
He behaved really well all the time he was here. He enjoyed himself. He played. He had fun. We worked with him on school stuff. He said goodnight to us when it was time for bed. Woke up happy every time. Never asked about his dad once. So he had fun here. He loves it here.
And what was your role in the parenting during the overnights?
What was my role?
Yeah, did you have one or zero? That's still a role. I'm just looking for how this played out.
I was here with her when he had him. Is that what you're asking me?
Okay, so if the court decides to change custody and grant Ms. Kent overnights, you'd still be in the home, correct?
Correct.
But you mentioned that Ms. Kent doesn't need any supervising. Is that correct?
No, she doesn't.
And
Yes.
so what I was trying to get at, maybe I'm being more confusing than I thought, but during the overnights, were you supervising Ms. Kent with the minor during this May through July?
I was watching her, yes, and I don't believe she needs help with anything.
Okay, so you don't feel like it was necessary for you to have to intervene or supervise her during that parenting time?
No.
That's really what I was getting at. Okay.
Okay.
So, thank you. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when she would like bathe and stuff, was there any special things that she would do that out of the ordinary that me or you wouldn't do?
No.
Are you aware that he had tubes in his ears and it's a must? You have to have earplugs in his ears to ever go underwater or anything like that?
Yes, we're aware of that because the doctor told us that when we had him in the office, and you never told us. But yeah, I'm aware of that.
I told Winnie many times when you had to go swim or even a shower, make sure you had earplugs. They even offered some. And just like with food and everything else, with mouth situation, with different foods and just a thing, but. And as far as, yeah, you stated, me drinking with my son or doing drugs, that has never happened. I never would do that.
It has to be a question. It has to be a question, sir.
Okay.
You're going to be able to testify. You just have to ask Ms. Kowalski some questions.
Yeah, have you ever seen me drink around a boy or think I was drinking or anything like that when you guys come to pick him up or drop him off? Right?
Well, I've never seen you drink, no, but I know you have before. I've seen you drink a long time ago, yes.
Yeah, I mean, would your honest opinion, you feel like I'm a good father as well, and I do anything for his needs?
I'm not sure.
I was wondering because you made that statement down there before, down at the protective service and all that. You know, I can be a good father and all. So I just wonder if you remember those kind of things, and that Wendy could be a good mother, with help and some guidance and things like that. And would you
Sir, if we got to give her a chance to answer. That was a question that
okay.
she's.
Sure.
I'm interested if she said those things, certainly. So, ma'am, you need to answer that question.
You're saying I did say when we was in the courtroom, or not the courtroom, but with the social can't say it. This social workers, I did say that at the time because, and that Wendy was a good mom too. There was no doubt in my mind she was a good mom. So that was over 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she was a good mom. It newborn at that time, but yes. What was you gonna say?
I didn't hear you, Dan.
Oh, I was just saying when you made that statement, that baby just a newborn at that time. So I mean,
That's correct.
Yeah.
I was giving you both a chance.
And was there a reason that you made her stay out in a camper at your house instead of being able to come in your home when she was asked to remove out of this home here on my sister because unsafe of being around the baby at night and things?
No, I let her stay out in the camper because she had a lot of thinking she wanted to do. You kicked her out. She had no place to go. So no.
Okay, Marie, I never.
You wanted me to take her someplace an institution place, and she does not need that. I'm sorry, but she doesn't need one.
Okay, Marie, that was not that was not for me. That was through protective service. And
No, that was from you, Dan.
Hey, so
Because that's what
listen,
you told us.
listen. I don't want to have to do this with every witness, but we have to ask questions and answer questions. So, Mr. Bishaw, you ask Ms. Kowalski questions, and Ms. Kowalski, you answer the questions asked.
Okay.
Okay, and the thing was is either Wendy had to leave this home or I had to turn the baby over to somebody else out of this home because they did not feel safe. And that was the deal that Wendy had to leave this home. And they're the ones that made her go and get the psychological evaluation done. That there's 2 cops that came here and took her to Solway.
I'm going to object to the narrative. There's no question.
Understood. Mr. Bishaw, you have to ask a question. You'll be able to testify later.
All right. And as you know, didn't we have to take care of the Petoskey Hospital to have an evaluation done also?
They didn't find anything out up there, did they?
I don't know. I never went in the room. He's like down on the
Yeah.
wire. I don't know what
Okay.
she told her. Well, that night that right there, didn't it take you an hour or so to get her up out of my basement?
No, it
And
did.
then she's in the bathroom another half hour or so, and because your husband Mark was getting really upset sitting out in the car that long because she's in the bathroom running water before we went there.
I don't remember all that, Dan.
Do you remember the incident down in McDonald's you guys there, and when you was chasing the boy around and he split his eyeball open?
Yes, I do. He was playing, and a typical kid's gonna probably hit a table or two with their head. It wasn't done on purpose.
No, I wouldn't say it was. I just wanted
And she took care of him.
and she took care of what, the cut?
Yes,
Well, yeah, with a piece of paper towel from the McDonald's.
yes, Dan.
Yeah, because they said he could have had a couple stitches there if he got caught in time. But
No, he didn't need stitches.
well, that's what they told me. But
No, he did not need stitches. I'm sorry.
okay, well, I'm not a doctor or nothing either, but I was told that he could have used a few stitches in that cut there.
No. No.
And you said that you think Wendy's a normal, loving mother.
Yes, she is. Truly is.
And you think she automatically has mother instincts and stuff like that since she had the baby and all that?
What was that question, Dan?
You think that she had normal mother instincts after she gave birth to the baby?
Yes.
Do you remember the day did not want to? The baby could not be in the room if I wasn't up there at the hospital because she showed no interest in the baby. Didn't want to hold it or nothing or feed it
That's because she was tired out from giving birth.
for several days.
Everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. It takes a while to heal and to get your strength back.
Do you recall coming over my house trying to get Wendy a call to get prenatal care after we found out she was pregnant?
I'm gonna object to relevance.
Mr. Bishaw, any response? How's it relevant?
I guess I have really no more to ask her.
Did you say you don't have any more questions?
Yeah, well, actually, I do. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, no, like transporting him to school and stuff. She don't have a vehicle. I mean, right now she don't have a job. She's never, to this day, has ever bought clothing or anything for her, a pair of shoes, anything, and be able to send it with him or anything like that. Or me and my family, my sisters, Matthew, everybody. I mean, he's got everything he possibly could ever ask for, anything ever needs and wants. Goes to camping trips. I mean, he got anything to get. But yeah, she's never.
I'd object to the narrative. I mean, I'll have the opportunity to
At
testify.
first, sir, so at first I thought you were asking a question about school. So if you want to ask a question, you just ask the question. Is it, how can I help here? Because I keep saying the same thing, but maybe it's not helpful. So if you could just ask the witness questions instead of making long statements that it sounds like what you're trying to do is make statements, right? To have something for the court to listen to as a fact. But right now you're just asking questions of this witness. You'll be able to state what you believe are facts later.
Okay.
Okay. So if you could just ask questions, then Ms. Kowalski will answer them. Okay.
Yeah. If he was there, how would he get back and forth to school, Marie?
He would get back and forth to school either on a bus or I will drive him back and forth to school or let Wendy drive him back and forth to school.
And did that be, I mean, you'd be fine with that happening every day throughout the winter during the over school, as you stated?
You'll have to repeat your answer. It's somehow the phone was muted. So ma'am, I saw you talking, but we couldn't hear you.
What was the question again?
I was just wondering how he was gonna get back and forth to school, because Wendy said that she wanted to keep him at over school.
He would get back and forth to school either by the bus or by a vehicle with me or Wendy.
Well, I was wondering if there's an emergency around when you're working and everything. I'm just concerned about things like that, I guess.
Well, I'm pretty sure Wendy would be taking care of it if something happened. Call 911 or whatever we have to do. And I'm sure you guys would do the same thing. So,
Well, absolutely. Whatever was needed to be taken care of.
same here.
And without her working or anything, how would she be able to afford clothing and things like that, and his needs that he would need, throughout the school year?
She can afford them.
But she can afford it. She's not working right now, correct?
She can afford them, Dan.
Okay.
That wasn't the question. I need to know the answer to that, ma'am.
I would get them for him if he needs it.
Is she employed right now or not, was the question.
Right now, she's not employed right this second, no. But as Dan,
Go ahead, Mr. Bishaw.
Yes, I have income. I'm not employed yet.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You can,
Oh.
I'm not answering questions from witnesses either. It's not her opportunity to do that. She just answers questions that you ask. Would you please ask some more questions, Mr. Bishaw, if you have them? I just have to keep directing everyone to do the simple instructions like ask questions, answer questions. So I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah, I guess I have no further questions for Marie.
Where's your home located, Ms. Kowalski?
in between East Jordan and Central Lake, right on the borderline for East Jordan.
Sure, thank you. And you don't have to give me your exact address. I don't want to put that online. I'm just wondering, and how far away from Mr. Bishaw's home are you?
It's,
Approximately.
what's that?
Approximately how far away is where you live from where Mr. Bishaw lives?
I can't, I think it's about 10 miles.
In other words, these parties live close. Is that your understanding?
What was that?
These parties live pretty close to each other. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Perlman, any redirect?
Just very briefly, ma'am, it was asked about comments you'd made to a social worker previously, years ago. Currently, do you have concerns about Mr. Bishaw being a good father?
Yes, I do.
And what are those concerns?
Concerns of being arrested and watching his son watch him being arrested, for one. Just stuff like that.
Well, okay, and what, well, I guess if you could elaborate a little bit, now's the time.
For drugs and drinking, just partying all the time.
Okay. Okay, and
And,
And that is your saying.
Hold on.
okay, and you believe that affects his ability to parent?
yes.
Okay. Okay, I have no I have no further questions. Thank you.
Just how do you know he's partying all the time? I thought you said he didn't. You haven't seen him drink around the child.
Because when my daughter lived there, I know they partied a lot.
Okay.
He partied a lot.
And she's lived. Mr. Perlman asked you your current concerns. Has your daughter lived with Mr. Bishaw currently or recently?
No. She does not live with him. She lives here with me.
All right. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any final questions for this witness? And they have to be based on the questions that I've asked or the questions that Mr. Perlman just asked.
Yes, wait, was you there every day, when you had the boy for that 2 months, Marie? Could you hear me?
I said yes.
So you didn't have to work for that whole 2 months that she had him, that you took him from the school?
I stayed here with her, yes, until I found out you didn't have rights. So I didn't think I'd have to stay with her. Cause I have to work too, you know.
Yeah, I was wondering because right in the court order, that's what it states.
She wasn't here by herself at all.
Yeah, but
She
you
always
were the
had
one,
somebody here.
you were the one that's being appointed by the court as a supervisor. Because your husband, I mean, he barely take care of himself, correct? But he's got medical problems.
He can take care of himself. He might need help once in a while, but he can take care of himself.
Yeah, but just in the court orders, it made precise that you had to be the supervisor. Or that's Wendy and I agreed upon somebody else if he was not available, correct?
Yes, but you were in jail, Dan, at the time.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. I'm talking about the boy, you know, his safety and health and
His
well-being.
safety was fine.
Well, that's why you was there for the supervisor, so they could make sure of that, the courts.
Correct.
Okay. That's the only thing I was asking about you being at work while she had the boy.
It's not a question.
That wasn't a question. If she was at work while she had the boy.
Yeah, I took it as though you were just explaining why you asked something. So I understood. Did you have any further questions for this witness, sir?
No, I'm all set, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
welcome.
Yeah, if I just has one more question, I'm sorry, just based on what Your Honor asked. Are you aware are you aware whether or not the boy understood or that expressed an understanding that he witnessed his father getting arrested?
Yes, he did.
Okay,
And he tried
okay, and where did he witness his father getting arrested?
at McDonald's parking lot at the drop off.
Okay. Do you know why he was arrested?
The police officer said he had a warrant against his arrest.
See, I was
Okay,
asking
fine.
how she knows these things. You're
Okay,
not
fine.
asking
Okay,
the
I
same,
know.
but I'm looking for her foundation on some of these issues.
I understand.
So, I'm not interested in what the police said, or if you want to ask her how she knows, if she was present at that McDonald's, that's what I was wondering is how she knows these things.
I was present at McDonald's, yes.
During
For
the
the-
arrest,
For the pickup and for the drop off and for the event, yes.
What was the event?
yeah, go ahead. The event being, that's what we're looking for. The event meaning the arrest, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Bowman, you can follow up in that vein then.
Thank you. And when was that?
I'd have to look it up. It was in May sometime, I believe.
Okay. And do you know how the police became involved with the situation?
Yes. Because the little boy was in the front seat of the vehicle when he was being dropped off. And the law is he's not supposed to be in the front seat, I believe.
Was he in
So
was he in a child seat? Was in a booster
and
seat?
I don't think he was in a booster seat. And we had called the cops about it and told them. So when the drop off came, the cops were there before we got there, and they were already talking, had Dan in custody at that time and told us that we had to wait because he had a warrant out for his arrest. They were checking on it. That's
Okay.
how I know. And then he was arrested, and Daniel watched him being arrested.
And it's your understanding that he wasn't released from custody until July, from then until July?
I
He
don't,
was in, I'm sorry, which is it your understanding that he was in custody from that point and that date in May at McDonald's? Until
Yes.
he was released in July?
yes,
Okay. All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Can I
Now,
make a comment to that?
To be fair, then any final questions, Mr. Bashaw?
Yes, and the factor, she stayed there about McDonald's. Went to the drive-through line. He wanted chocolate milk that morning, and he was in a car seat in the back of the van. And he asked, and as we was parked ordering, I let him out. He got out and he sat in the front seat.
I'm gonna object, Judge.
I'm trying to, that's why I just had my hand up. You have to ask a question, sir, okay?
Well, I just stating how he got in the front seat of the van.
I'm aware that you're stating something. I've asked you not to do that. I'm asking you to
I'm sorry.
ask her questions. You can ask her about you can ask her about the situation. That's perfectly fine. It's just, it's not your opportunity to tell us what you think happened yet, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right, so you can ask her some questions.
Did you see me come down the road and the boy sitting in the front seat, or is that coming right in the parking lot of McDonald's?
Right through the parking lot at McDonald's. You never went through the drive-through. You came right through the parking lot.
Okay. Well, I did, but anyways, yes. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. At this point, ma'am, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Perlman, your next witness, please.
Okay, I'm gonna call my client. I'm just gonna shut my door here. I hear a vacuum. Okay, hello, Ms. Kent, how are you? And you are,
Good. How are you?
okay, and you are the mother. What is your son's name?
Daniel?
Okay. And in terms of you filed a motion. What are you requesting in your motion?
To get to see my son more.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, are you okay, so I'm gonna ask you a few general questions here. How would you describe your relationship between you and your son?
Amazing.
Okay,
Unbreakable.
okay,
Loving.
okay,
We have a bond.
very good. Okay, so do you are you do you have a strong emotional relationship with your child?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and when he's in your care, do you provide for his essential needs?
Yes.
Okay, and what type of things, I guess, do you provide a stable and secure and safe environment for the child?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Who do you think between you and Mr. Bashaw can provide a more stability for the child?
I do.
Okay, and why is that?
He doesn't work. As far as I know from being with him, he's unstable.
Okay, so you had your child for approximately around 60 days over the last few months. While
Correct.
Mr. Bashaw was in jail, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and were you present when Mr. Bashaw was arrested?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and what happened?
We ended up being at McDonald's just before 9:30, me and my mom. And when Dan pulled up, he was late. And we seen the boy sitting in the front seat. And we were both stunned. We took a video and so he handed me the boy. And as soon as I got the boy in my custody, I called the cops, explained to him what happened. And then spent the day with the boy. And then
1 second, and then were you there when Mr. Bashaw got arrested?
yes, I was. Me and my mom were bringing the boy back. And when we got there, they had Dan in handcuffs, I believe. And then they explained to me that he had a warrant for Sheboygan. And then when they ended up taking off with Dan to go to jail, finally, Matt Bishaw was there. And Matt explained to him that he was working on his vehicle and couldn't take Dan to drop off or to pick up Daniel. And I know that's incorrect.
Okay, so,
Normally,
but,
yes,
but I guess, okay, but you were there, you witnessed him being arrested and you're
Yes.
standing because he had a warrant for his
Yes.
arrest. Okay, and, during the time when the child was with you for that extended period of time, were you, how did you feel that you managed in terms of, day-to-day parenting?
I think I did really good. He did lots of learning, he had lots of fun, he had lots of time with family finally, and I think it
Okay.
went very good.
Okay, did he feel comfortable, or I guess, did you feel like there was open communication where he was able to communicate with you?
Yes, through the time I had him from May 25th to July 12th, he actually talked better than what he does now.
Okay,
You could actually understand him better. I practiced with words with him that I got from the school, and
so you
yeah,
got something to go over with to review with him over the summer
yes,
school, okay?
Yep.
And do you think that was beneficial to him?
oh yes, it definitely helps him.
Okay, and do you what what time did he typically go to sleep?
About 8:39 most
Okay.
nights.
All right, and would you ensure that he went to sleep at, a reasonable time?
Correct.
Okay, and then did
We
you,
all had bedtimes.
as a child?
Yes.
Okay.
All
So-
5 of us. So,
Okay, so did you grow up in a pretty healthy household?
yes, correct.
Okay, and did you it's my understanding that your family's Christian oriented and you guys went
Yes.
to church and whatnot?
Yep, we're all baptized. We all go to church still.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that
We all
and
believe in God.
great. Okay, and is that something that you want for your son?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and do you share in I guess do you educate him when he's around and
Yes, I read to him. We practice with letters and numbers when he's here. He loves the color.
okay. Did you
Mhm.
feel, was it overwhelming? I mean,
No, not one bit. I couldn't have enough of it.
okay. And then, and how old are you, ma'am?
I am 38.
Okay, and you're one of 5 children?
Yes, correct.
Okay, where do you fall?
With 2 half brothers and sisters.
Okay, so where do you fall in that mix? Are you,
I'm in the middle. I'm the second youngest from the 5, and I'm in the middle between the 7.
okay, all right. So,
I got 3 younger brothers and 2 older and a half sister that's older.
okay. And so did you grow up kind of watching your younger brother and,
Oh yeah, I was the big sister, the babysitter.
okay, all right.
Yep.
And,
When my mom was gone at work, so
okay, and have you, when, I guess, do you feel overwhelmed, I guess, when, kids
Never.
that age have a tendency to, get out of line and misbehave at times and get wild?
No.
How do you respond to that?
I normally just try to calm him down if he is ever, out of control, but he never gets that way, really, ever. So he's
Okay.
never been in trouble. If he was, I'd stand him up in a corner,
Okay, all right,
That was our punishment as kids.
okay.
Stand in a corner.
And in terms of, there was some issues brought up, I guess, throughout these proceedings, and do you have any, I guess, a history of mental health issues that you're aware of?
No, I do not.
Okay, and are you currently taking any substances that would impair your
No.
ability to in any way?
None at all.
Okay, all right, and then we heard testimony previously that you were working for the union, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I believe you began working there in January of 2021?
Correct.
Okay, and you took a pause, I believe around the fall of 2022, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and why, and why was that?
Because you get laid off when the job is completed.
Okay, and were a lot of the jobs you were getting, were they out of state?
At the time, yes. When I first started, I had to go out of state to Minnesota. I was on a work permit because I wasn't a union worker, and that's how I got in. And then after being in it for a year, I got into the union, and then I was transferred to another union for Michigan, and that's how it started as far
Okay.
as the job. Yes.
And then, I guess going forward, it's my understanding that you were looking for opportunities closer, in Michigan. Is that correct?
Correct. So I could exercise my time with my son, get my parenting time.
Okay. And who do you live with?
I live with my mom and dad and my older brother, Mike.
Okay. And how is your how is the child's relationship with your dad and mom and Mike?
He loves it here. Most of the time he's on my hip, but he does go, and hang out with the family, well, with me.
Okay. And during when Mr. Bashaw was in jail, did the child speak about his father often, or
No,
do you have
Okay.
any concerns about Mr. Bashaw? The environment that Mr. Bashaw is in?
yes, I do. He does have narcolepsy, which he falls asleep. And I know from his past and heard of his past of him using needles and stuff. I've seen him drinking. He was abusive to me, but I never turned him in. I mean,
Okay.
and plus all of his legal stuff going on now is also a concern.
Okay. Your son witnessed Mr. Bashaw being arrested?
Yes, he did. He cried and said he wanted his daddy. And I told him that his daddy would be back out soon, is what I told my son.
Okay. All right. And at the time of you indicated that there was how long were you in a relationship with Mr. Bashaw?
For about 14 years, I got with him before I was 20, and they kicked me out when I was 33, and the boy was about 3 months old.
Okay. And then
So a long time.
okay. And then shortly after that, that's when this case opened?
Yep. I helped him raise Kelly's boy Daniel. I helped Kelly's boy Daniel's daughter. I took care of all their family. I helped him with his parents. I mean, I did a lot for that family.
Okay.
So
And going back to your job with the union, and I may have asked this, and I believe Philip addressed it earlier, but you, with the union, you're drug tested pretty regularly?
yeah.
Okay.
Hold
Okay.
on.
Okay, now we hear
Can
you.
you hear me
We're
now?
good. Yeah,
Okay. You're tested at orientation. If you get laid off and come back, you're drug tested, and they also do random.
okay. And you never failed a drug test, correct?
Nope.
Okay. And how would you pardon me. Over the last couple of years, you've had to file multiple motions to enforce your parenting time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And why did you
I
file
did
those motions?
I did that because Dan wasn't allowing me to do my visitations.
Okay.
A lot of times he went, or he said he would be there and not show up,
Okay.
or give me excuses. So
Would you indicated there was a change. You noticed certain changes when your son was in your care for a longer period of time.
correct.
Okay. What were there also behavioral changes?
Yeah, he was definitely well more behaved. He would come back from dance a lot and be wanting to like smack me and different things. When I had him for those 60 days or whatever it was, you could really understand him with him being here for like 2 weeks. And then when he came back from Candies, or since he's been at Candies, he's actually harder for us to understand. We have to slow him down and say his words more clear.
Okay. Were there specific, were there other instances, I guess, where you believe that it was not in your son's best interest to be with his father?
Yes, I came back from Minnesota. Dan didn't tell me nothing until I went to get him. He hurt his arm, either broke it or something. It was in a cast. Another time I was up in Crystal Falls and came back home to get him. He had a bunch of bruises on his back, and they weren't all the same color figurations. And just recently, I mean, I know boy gets bruises and bumps and stuff, but he had a big scrape on his leg, got bruises on his knees. Before, when he's with his dad, a lot of times he'd be dirty, his ears were dirty, or he had food still on his mouth. I mean, and a lot of times his excuses were, oh, we were late because I was getting him ready. Well, he's showing up dirty, you know, I mean, but yeah.
And are you, I guess when you're, if you ever have to work or be out of the house, who assists you in taking care of Daniel?
My mother or other family members, or if I
Okay.
have to find a daycare, I will do that.
Okay. And just to be clear, you have your own driver's license and you're able to,
Yes, I
You
do.
go as you
And
need.
insurance. Yep. I have a
Okay.
legal vehicle, roadworthy, and
okay,
a car seat. Yep.
in a car seat. Okay. In July, the child was, went back to Candy's home, at some point, correct?
Yes. July 13th, or July 12th, he went back to Candy's.
Okay. And, and it's your understanding that, when Mr. Bishaw was released from jail, he moved in with Candy. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what, and when, and is it, since then, you still, how often have you seen your child?
When he first went back, it was every Thursday and Sunday. And Candy said she would work with me on Saturdays, but she never did. And then just
twice
last
a week?
Tuesday.
So about
Yeah.
twice a week? Okay.
Correct. And not because I wasn't trying.
Okay. And, do you, would you have any issue getting your child to and from school?
No, sir.
Okay. And do you, would you ensure that his homework is done and that he's
Oh,
well?
yeah. He
Okay,
has to have good grades,
okay,
good attendance.
okay. And do you have any, issue, would you interfere with him, with, his father being able to co-parent and, I guess.
No, not as long as he was sober and could take care of him. No, I would have no issue with him and the boy.
Okay.
And no exes that, you know, or no people that got felons and bad people. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that his girlfriend he was with that was living with him at recently,
Yeah.
your understanding that, she was also involved in, drugs and,
Oh, yeah. She has a record.
okay.
Yep.
And is it your, is that something, I guess, you mentioned his, drug habit and his,
Narcolepsy.
yeah, is this something that you believe has affected his ability to be a good father?
Yes, because I got the boy's school records and he missed a lot of school and he only lived a mile or two away from school. He normally showed up in the afternoon. So yes, I do have concerns.
Okay. Would you ensure that he gets to school every day?
Oh, yes, early.
Okay. Are you a pretty punctual person?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with my job, I get up early and work late. So,
Okay. And, in terms of a parenting time schedule, what schedule do you think would be in the best interest of the minor child?
I mean, if the judge will let me, I'd have the boy whenever they will let me have him. I mean, I got somebody to watch him if I have to go to work so I can support him. And
Okay. So we discussed, do you want to have you want to be the primary custodial parent?
Yes.
Is that fair to say? Okay.
Correct.
And, you'd have, no objection to, again, assuming he's in a safe environment.
Yes.
Mr. Bishaw having the child on weekends or,
Yeah, I'd
sharing-
still like it to be supervised personally.
okay. And, and what type of, and is that because of your concern about his drug use and
Yes,
alcohol
correct.
use? Okay,
And his willing to break the law. I don't want the boy being a part of that.
okay.
Oh.
And in general, would you consider yourself a loving, stable, and capable mother?
I do.
Okay, and is it fair to say that you want, you believe that you more involvement, and specifically that you being the primary custodial parent would be in the best interest of the child?
I do.
Okay, all right, thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Jeff, the school emergency thing.
Oh, if I may,
Awesome.
I apologize. And there was a concern. You contacted his school, Daniel's school, correct?
Correct. The father did not tell me where the boy was going or if he was even in school. I found it out a different way. And I went there to put my name on his emergency list. And Dan had his name and Kelly Dustin's on the emergency list. So I added mine.
Okay, and who's Kelly Dustin?
That is his longtime ex-girlfriend that he's been with off and on.
Okay, and it's and why did you ask him why your name was not on the list, emergency list?
No, after I found that out, he was in jail, Jeff.
Okay, and is this the first time, this past time, was this the first time that he's been in jail during your
As far as I know, I have not been told of any other time until I was in Crystal Falls and CPS got a hold of me and said that him and Kelly were arrested.
okay, and for what?
They said he was underneath the influence, and the boy wasn't in a proper car seat, is what the CPS worker told me.
Okay, when
I don't know if they got or if they were swerving. I have no idea why he was pulled over.
and when were you told, or when did you learn of this?
This was probably like September in 2021, I believe.
Okay,
I'd
and
have to look on my phone to find the exact date, but that's close to the time.
okay, and
And oops.
do you recall what happened with that CPS matter?
Well, I was getting a hold of CPS because of the bruises on the boy's back, and Heidi I talked to Heidi and she sent another caseworker that was up in Crystal Falls to talk to me. And he asked me questions if I knew about it, and I said I didn't have no idea that even happened. And I showed him the pictures of the bruises on the boy's back. So
Okay, is there anything else that you want to indicate to the court?
just that me and my boy love each other, and he didn't want to leave his mommy. And I just want what's best for my son, to have the best healthy education life and not have to worry about bad things happening to him.
Okay, and okay, and do you and I guess I would just give me one moment if I may.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Kent, why do you believe that Mr. Bashaw is currently using drugs?
Because he's addicted to it, Your Honor. I've seen him DT. It's something he does.
When was that?
The whole time I was with him, and when we go to pick up the boy, he seems messed up. Even my other family members think so.
When the two of you were together, were you both using together?
I did smoke weed here and there, and then when the boy was born, I had morphine, Your Honor. And I barely ever drank alcohol, so.
And then just to clarify, you may have clarified this with Mr. Perlman, but I'm not clear. What's going on with your job right now?
Right now, I am laid off.
Okay.
Because I wanted to there's jobs for me to work in Michigan, but I wanted to make sure I could be at these court dates. There's so many in a row. That's why I'm not back to work yet. And
Understood.
plus I had my son with me. Not
So
that
there,
long
there
ago.
were, this was the second period. There was a period in the fall of 2022 when you were taking a pause or however we called it. But now you're also laid off.
Yes, correct.
All right.
It
So you're,
happens to union workers, to pipeliners.
sure. I just
And
want to
then
make
you
sure
get,
that,
yep, then you get unemployment until it runs out. So
okay. And then, so you're not currently drug testing.
no, not right now. As soon as I go back to work, I will be.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
As any, no, I understand it's part of the process. I'm just trying to figure out where we're at in the process.
Yep.
What,
Heidi did drug test me not that long ago. June something, I believe.
Who's Heidi?
She's a CPS worker, the specialist that did an investigation with me.
That was in June.
And
I believe so.
if I could build a
That's all right.
foundation.
I'd like to ask some more questions. Thanks. Ms. Kent, you
Yeah.
have a current pending CPS case?
No, I do not. It was closed. Not that long after I was out of Candies, I believe. I got the exact date in the house, Your Honor.
I
When they closed
I
it-
understand you're saying it's closed. I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay.
Yep, I'm
So-
just trying to help.
What was the case? What was it open
The
for as
case
far as
was open because Kelly's boy called the hospital, said I was shooting up oxys and heroin, and said the house was a mess.
So this was an you were being investigated.
Me and Dan.
Okay.
Dan
both of
was
you.
tested positive for meth.
I'm sorry, when was this, Wendy?
This was when I gave birth to the boy. Like the very next day, CPS was at the hospital. That's when it all started. They called the night I went to the hospital. I got every report from the hospital and CPS.
Okay, so I think Your Honor was asking about June. And that's,
She said June.
oh yeah, so June of this year. And you were interviewed because Candy,
Yes, because her.
No,
Yeah.
I
child
don't want your attorney telling you what to say. That's
No,
completely.
I just-
No, I'm sorry. I just
have to mute your
misunderstood
attorney then.
question.
I'm asking the questions. You'll have redirect. And it's inappropriate for your attorney to tell you what to say, because now you know exactly what to say. All I'm trying to figure out is why was CPS testing you in June? This isn't me accusing you of something.
Yeah. Okay. I understand
It's
your
important.
question.
Listen, it's important for me to understand what's going on. Okay?
Correct. I was
Not what your
tested.
attorney tells you to say.
Do you
So
still
what
want me to answer?
I do. What happened in
Okay.
June?
When I was with the boy, I got a letter in the mail from the courts to be questioned by Heidi. She came here, asked me a bunch of questions, and gave me a drug test at the end of it. It was for guardianship over my son.
The current open guardianship. through-
Yes, which I knew nothing about.
Well, but it was, what do you know when the guardianship began?
No, not exactly. No, I do not. All I know is when I went to get CPS and my lawyer told me I could go to Candy's and get my son when Dan was in jail. And I went there and she showed the cop a paper saying she had temporary custody. That's how I found out, Your Honor.
Okay, that clarifies. Thank you. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any questions for Ms. Kent?
Yeah, you beat out there. Was you asking me that? Any questions, Ms. Camp?
Yes.
Okay, yes, matter of fact, I do. Yes, Wendy, when you initially got that job, on the pipeline there, you were just nicely getting back to getting involved with the baby's life, correct?
No, that's not correct.
Because you wasn't able to see him a whole lot because of the.
No. I didn't see him a whole lot because you kept him from me. My mom wasn't working her other job at that time, Dan, and I could get him Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays.
Yeah, that was after the court actually put that in order. Right?
After our court date, sure, Dan, that's
yeah,
when the
Yeah.
3
but then-
days happened.
Yeah, but you, it's just nice to get to know him because there's a big, it's hard for him to get to go with you. He's really upset and didn't want to go because he didn't really know you and stuff.
No, that's incorrect.
You just get nicely, he's getting more comfortable with you, right? When you got that job and all that stuff.
No, he's been comfortable with me the whole time, Dan, even when I would barely see him because of you.
Well, you guys just getting better at, he wasn't crying so much when you take it off. But then you, when you left to go out of state for about a year, and you signed a paper about, you're giving up your visits for the baby, but you want me to transfer them over to your mother. And
What is the question? I'm lost.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, couldn't you have got a different job close to home and seen your son instead of going out of state?
Not at that time, no, because I wasn't in the union, Dan. And jobs around here, like the ALP job, I was living paycheck to paycheck where I couldn't take care of anything other than making it back and forth to work and paying a few bills and child support. So no, it didn't work. I don't have a high education, far as schooling. So no, there's nothing around at that time for me to do. I couldn't be a lawyer or doctor. No, there's nothing.
I mean, you went to go do that job. You remember when you went and had that paper notarized, me and you?
Yes, that was after I got the job. I wanted my mom to get the boy because I couldn't be there besides every Sunday or every other Sunday. So I wanted you to let her have him so you'd still be a part of this family. So he wasn't missing out like he does when I was home. And you agreed to it. And then after a few times, you disagreed with it and stopped my mom from letting him see him, which at that time I was talking to him through video chat with my mom and I actually was with my boy through video chat. So
I offered that as well
while I was working.
when you getting ready to leave, I offered you to video chat him anytime you wanted, and I'd send you pictures and stuff, and you just told me to give them to your mother. But I did offer. Yeah, I did offer.
You went against what we signed, so I don't know what your question is, Dan.
I was just saying that you took off and left the state for work when you could have got a job closer.
Yeah, to get an education so I could support my son.
There's nothing.
Okay.
Ms. Kent,
Wait till he asks a question. I'm sorry.
yes, we just need to, for everyone, it's questions and then answers. But Ms. Kent, I understand that you want to just say what you want, but the problem is you have to answer the questions Mr. Bishaw asks. Mr. Perlman will ask you questions on redirect if he feels like you need to answer more, okay?
Okay, I already answered him that there was
You
no
don't just
jobs
answer
around.
the questions as you are asked. Do you understand?
Okay. Correct.
So, and I would just, again, Your Honor, ask, again, indicate that this is narrative. There's no questions being asked for the last few minutes. So
I understand. Part of that is partially true, but part of what Mr. Bishaw is doing, as we're hopefully people are learning, is he makes a statement, but then asks. We have to wait a little bit. We have to be somewhat patient. And then Ms. Kent is just firing off. So this is relative chaos. I mean, I need Mr. Bishaw to ask questions. I understand he's having a hard time doing that, but Ms. Kent is just interrupting. So we're not going to be done. We have 59 minutes left in this hearing. Okay. So let's try to get through it together, everyone, or else we'll be back.
Okay.
Another situation when before you even had visitation, I would be indecent. The protective service told me I didn't have to. I'd take it down 1 day a week, letting you see me at the pizza place, you and your mother, correct?
You allowed that, yeah.
Yes. And then your mother went out to her vehicle and got a car seat, and you guys tried taking off. And that's when the police had to be called, correct?
No, Dan, it's not correct.
Okay, but the lady called the police and the cops come and everything else because you started to take off with him.
I was taking my boy for my visitation, Dan. I didn't do anything wrong.
But you had no visitation whatsoever at that time, Wendy.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, no, you're wrong. We wasn't in the court system yet. It just through protective services. They told me they would not.
I object. Same objection. Sorry.
Okay, then you talk, mentioned a few things about abuse and different things like that. Wendy, you recall I took you out to your mother's and when you were swinging on me and stuff, and the cops come and took you.
Dan, this ain't a question. My mom called the cops on me because I said something about the Lord and she wanted them to check me out, and they did. So.
Yeah, because you told me at the mouth and you started swinging on me, couldn't tell you I'd love
No,
you.
that's incorrect. But you, what am I supposed to say, Judge, when this ain't true? I wasn't swinging at him.
Just say no. That's. I'm sorry.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, that you just answer honest. You answer honestly. I'm not instructing
I
you.
always do. So
It's a lot.
And after I found out when you was pregnant, you had 7.5, 8 months long in there. Several people have tried to get you to go to the doctor for prenatal care also, correct?
no, I tried to get in there myself and they told me I had to know a certain date when I stopped my period. And then when I tried to set that up, I found out in March that I was pregnant and I had him in June. That whole time I tried to go see a doctor. So you're wrong.
Well, no, because your brother came over to our house and so did your mother trying to get you to, and I have tried several times. You kept giving me excuses.
Object to relevance.
I need it.
No,
Well,
it's
first of
not.
all, I need a question, but
Okay, what was the reasoning for you not going and getting the doctor? You could walk in the hospital and get a doctor for, to get prenatal care. What was your reasoning?
There wasn't a reason. I called trying to get to see a doctor when I was pregnant. And they told me that I needed to know more stuff about last period date. And I told them it's always different. And so I had to go set up another appointment to try to find out my last cycle. And that's when I ended up having birth, Dan. So
Well, there's several people can't remember that day, but anyway,
Yeah.
what was a baby born with drugs in the system and addicted to drugs?
is this a question?
Yes.
that was
The
a very
boy had
clear.
morphine.
I would say that was a very clear question.
He
Ms. Kent.
knows the answer is all I'm getting at, Judge.
Well, you don't need
Sorry.
to comment on that. Presumably, your attorney knows the questions he's asking you, or the answers to the questions he's asking. Mr. Bishaw can ask you questions, whether he knows or not. Maybe this is helpful. I don't know the answer to these questions if it's not on the record. I can only consider things that are on the record.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
I asked if when the baby was born, if he had drugs in the system and he was addicted to drugs.
He was not addicted to drugs, but yes, he had drugs in his system.
Okay, when I wasn't at the hospital right there, I'd leave. Why would they take the baby out of the room and put him in a nursery?
Objection is speculation.
I would agree.
Okay, well, he didn't want. She wanted to hold him, or she showed no interest.
I understand. Mr. Bishaw, it's not your time to testify.
I'm sorry.
Ask some questions, please.
Okay, and then he was transferred to Munson down to Traverse City because of his addiction. They couldn't deal with him up in Soloway, and I stayed right there and at the hospital in Traverse City. And any class I could take, or the new CPR, things like that, I took all those classes like that.
I'm not. How can I help you ask a question here? Because that's all a statement. Do you have any more questions for Ms. Kent?
Yeah, and yes, I do. She talks about these drugs. Well, I was on medication because I had a bad accident. I fell, and I was on these medications, and that's a drug I'm sure she's referring to, because the CPS come to the hospital. I volunteered to take drug tests all along, as which she'd see him pulling the driveway, she'd take off and run for them.
Okay.
And she.
I'd object to this narrative. He's not he's testifying.
Agreed.
Oh, okay, Wendy, would you take off and run from the CPS people when they pull in to give you a drug test?
What's that?
Would you take off and run out the basement or leave so the CPS people could not drug test you?
No.
Did you at Bob and Reva take off to the tall barns and they chased you?
I took off at Bob and Reva's because I was scared they were going to take the boy from me. Yes. Because Candy called CPS because I quit doing the early on visitations over at her house and put it over at Reva's. So she called CPS on me. Yes, I did take off.
Why would you be scared? You didn't take the baby though.
Exactly what I said. I was scared they were going to take the boy from me because of what you and Candy have been saying and doing.
I was doing everything I was supposed to. You wasn't meeting with people anyways. Yes, every time I dropped him off with you, the boy was clean, his hair was done. He might have a little food on his mouth from eating breakfast, but you even say how nice he looked. I mean, his hair was all
I object to the narrative.
I agree.
Wendy, have you ever bought him any clothing or any toys?
Yes, I have, Dan.
Wait,
I bought him a four-wheeler. I bought him a bunch of clothes. I bought him shoes. I bought him all of his needs.
okay, I was just gonna say,
Um,
and any toy that he wanted to bring to the house, would you let him?
Yes. Even ones I didn't want to let because I knew they wouldn't come back, Dan. So,
I know you complained about that orange pair of socks you got back. His got wet or something. And it wasn't it true that CPS made us put the baby in my sister's bedroom at night because they felt unsafe?
that was between me, you, and Candy, Dan, and CPS signed it. If you're can remember that far back.
Yeah, I can, but CPS is the one that put that stipulation in order, is what I'm saying.
We put it in order. It was our when we worked with Families First, we made the plan to make the baby safe. And you guys were saying I was sleepwalking and doing stuff. Yes. Yeah, the boy was in a not for very long, but yeah, he was in Candy's room in a playset or playpen, sorry.
Well, he was safe right there in the bedroom with me. I don't know why you didn't think it. I would want him being with my sister, you know, why would burden her with that? Is our child.
Judge,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would object. First of all, it's not a question. Secondly, object to relevance. Again, this pertains to again what's happened since the last court order.
Well, I agree with that, but I think on direct, we were going way back. And I think even with her mom, we were going way back. So it's hard for me to tell what people want to talk about. The time frame, we shouldn't be talking about when the child was born. I agree, but it's been, the door's open. And so I'm trying to corral everybody back. I don't know that we need to, we definitely don't need to relitigate the initial, the initial CPS case. I mean, the reality is, you all signed a stip for this parenting time arrangement that's currently in order. And so presumably, or at least the court presumes, that you took all of that information into consideration when you signed that stip. So you've already, in a sense, you have all understood that you built an agreement that is the current order based on all that history. So this case right now, this motion is from that time period on. I mean, I understand that some of the best interest factors can relate back past that, but the reality is we're looking from that step on. Okay, that's what I'm trying to focus on. And what's the current state of things?
Yeah, and I just want to add to, as far as Kelly Dustin, she keeps bringing up, we've not been a couple since 2001 or 2002 anyways.
I understand. Well, I thought you were talking about, anyway, I did not understand that. Sorry. Anyway, that's a statement you can make on when you're testifying. You can continue to ask questions, but I'm just telling you, we really don't need to relitigate the CPS issues.
And those guys testified, you know, how well mannered he was and happy and joyful. Well, that doesn't come from somebody that's you know, a dad is being bad and not raising right. I had him in speech therapy, and he had a surgery. You know,
I object, Mr. Bichelle. Is there any more questions?
Yeah. How come he wasn't took and do his other surgery that he had in July on his mouth and when he had him?
because it was rescheduled till a later date that they didn't even reschedule because they want him to do speech therapy.
He went through speech therapy. They had him scheduled for July 11th.
They rescheduled it, Dan.
You must have.
No, they did.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't find anything funny about this court case.
No.
I don't. He doesn't believe me. He's lying about
Mr.
everything.
Bishaw, any further questions for this witness?
No, that's very important. His speech, you know, for the rest of his life. I mean, that's I definitely want to make sure he had that done as of the first one down DeVos. So that's very important to his, you know, the rest of his life. And as he goes on, you know, me and him got a bond. I mean, it's unconditional, and you know, it's very loving. Everybody around him here loves him.
And with the speech therapist,
There was no
question. No question.
well, there was about his appointment.
That's okay, Ms. Kent. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bishaw, do you have a question for Ms. Kent?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
All right. Mr. Perlman, do you have any redirect?
Just very, very briefly, Ms. Kent, you indicated that CPS contacted you this summer. Is it your understanding that Candy called CPS regarding the guardianship case?
Yes,
Okay, and they came and spoke with you?
yes, and the guardianship lawyer.
Okay, and at that time, they took a drug test?
Yes,
Okay, were you expecting them to come?
no.
Okay, and-
Well, I wasn't sure, why she was coming there really. Cause it was all like real short notice.
okay, so how much notice did you have that they were coming?
I don't even think a week, I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not exact, I'd have to look at my paperwork when I
Okay.
got it.
Okay, and did you pass the drug test?
Yes, I found out through Danielle from, CPS that I passed it.
Okay, and was there any CPS case open that you're aware of?
Nope, I tried to open up a case, to have them watch me with the boy and they said he's not here enough for them to do that.
Okay, and you okay, so I've no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bashaw, do you have any final questions for Ms. Kent based on the questions that Mr. Perlman was just asking?
No, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Perlman, do you have any further witnesses or exhibits?
Let me see here. Let me see. There were several there were references to Mr. Bashaw's criminal record. There's an iChat attached to the motion. I would just ask to enter that as an exhibit.
Is it certified?
It is we purchased it directly from the website. Let me see here.
I think you'd have to get it in through Mr. Bashaw anyway. He hasn't testified yet,
Okay, so I don't have anything further at this time.
but I don't know if it's certified either. But you can look at that. I mean, I was asking honestly. I
Yeah, I don't know.
didn't verify whether it was certified because this is the first time we have talked about it on the record. Well, first time we've talked about it ever. How's that? Okay, so other than that, then any further witnesses or exhibits, Mr. Perlman?
No, Your Honor.
All right, plaintiff rests. Mr. Bashaw, do you have any witnesses or exhibits, which would include yourself? You call yourself when you're representing yourself, if you would like to.
No, Your Honor.
You understand? Okay, that's fine. You don't have to testify, but did you want to testify?
Testify for what? I didn't understand that.
So the reason why I kept cutting you off when you were just making statements is because you're just asking questions. It wasn't for me to just be mean. Okay. It's if you want to offer your statements, if you want to say something to the court and have the court review it as evidence and consider it as evidence, you have to be under oath, and then you can tell your side of the story. Okay.
Sure.
But if you don't, I'm not going to make you do that. It's your choice. It's just
Sure.
When I'm asking if you have any witnesses, sometimes when people are unrepresented, that is confusing because you'd call yourself as well if you're wanting to make statements under oath. So
Sure.
I'm asking you now.
Yep. Sure. I will. Yep.
So this is your opportunity to tell the court. Sometimes I guess I summarize it as tell the court what you want and why, and any other parts about this, and then Mr. Perlman will be able to cross-examine you and ask you questions. Okay, so unless I have any questions, I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'm just going to listen. Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, first of all, after the baby was born, we lived here basically with my sister. Been here since basically birth, and loving family here. I got great support people, and I've lived in the house in Albert for 35 years plus. But but since the baby was born, been here. I mean, we got a great bond. I do everything that possibly can for him, and any needs that he needs, and go to any appointments or any class that I have to do for him, or any doctor appointment, dentist, anything he needs. And he's my apple of my eye. I mean, we got an unconditional bond. And whatever, his schooling is very important to me, as long as his speech and his hearing, and the list goes on. And I heard Bundy speak about a couple of bruises on his back and stuff. Well, officers did come to the house, and they could see because I bought him a full drive, 12-volt full drive truck, and as he's getting in and out of it, that's how he's sliding down him on his back there and off the swing set. The officer see no problem with it whatsoever. But yes, he absolutely, he's a block away from the school here, and always somebody here, to care for him. And, he's always well fed at the right time, and he bathed. And, the school is 100% important to me. And so is, as well as my sister and her son, Matthew. But yeah, I love my eye, and I'd do whatever it takes to make sure he's safe and healthy.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Perlman, do you have any questions for Mr. Bishaw? Cross-examination, in other words.
I do. Mr. Bishaw, can you confirm that you're currently unemployed?
Yes, I'm not working at this time.
Okay, and how do you support yourself?
I am on disability.
Okay, and how do you ensure that the child's material needs are met when you're not working and when you're not working?
It's to the money I have from my disability.
Okay.
And if there's some reason I couldn't possibly cover, I have my sister and Matt. I mean, my other sister had no problem helping out whatsoever.
Okay. Isn't it true that you have a suspended license?
No, I have a driver's license.
Okay. Can you, isn't it true, Mr. Bishaw, that you've been pulled over for drunk driving or for driving under the influence with your minor child in the car?
No, Your Honor, that is not true.
Okay. Were you pulled over, or can you confirm, are you or have you ever been a user of intravenous drugs?
No. Prescription medications? Yeah. Like I said, back when I got injured, I was on prescription medications.
Okay. And before living with your sister, who were you living with?
Me and my son at my house until I had some mechanical problems there. Then we was back over here.
Okay. How many times have you had to relocate in the last 2 years?
Just that one time back here, my sister, I did that place, like I said, for 30 plus years.
Okay. And then how do you you were arrested on April 29th, 2022, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And what were you arrested for?
That was me purchasing a boat off Facebook, and that's all charges have been dropped. That's why I went to jail.
Okay. And you're arrested now. You're also arrested on April 27th of 2022, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And that was for a warrant for possession of dangerous drugs. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. So is it true?
What's that? Excuse me. No, go ahead. Ask the question.
Isn't it true that you had a case that you were arrested in Charlevoix County, the Charlevoix County Sheriff Department for possession of dangerous drugs in April of 2022?
That was my own medication, sir.
Okay.
They did blood work and everything else on me, and it's nothing but my own medication.
Okay. And what medication was that?
My Ritalin for my narcolepsy, and gabapentin for the nerve damage in my feet, and then meloxicam, that's a pill for swelling and things like that. Yes.
Okay. And why were you
I wasn't pulled over. I stopped because my son had to go to the bathroom, and it's several miles away from the gas station in the place. So I stopped and let him go to the bathroom, and that's when the officer come rolling up there. But it wasn't like I was driving on the road or nothing like that, swerving, or he was out of the car, she climbing around or anything like that at all.
So what happened? The officer questioned you at that point?
Yeah. And then, well, you seen the pill bottle, and he said I was not able to drive under. It says that I cannot drive under those medications. I said, clearly states on the bottom just use care or caution when operating a vehicle or vessel.
And you were arrested that day?
Yep, and he told me, you're being arrested for operating under the influence of drugs.
And what did they do with your child?
That's when I had a friend right here from town to come get him and bring him right to my sister's son came right and got him.
Okay, and did you tell Wendy about this?
Well, yeah, she knew everything like it. Yep.
Did you tell Wendy about this?
Yes.
Did you tell her that you were arrested and that that the child wasn't with you?
Yeah, it was overnight. Yep.
Yeah, that you when did you tell her that?
On the next visitation that she had.
Okay, and you were also arrested on September 23rd of 2022, correct?
And what? Well, I can't remember. What was that date you gave me just before?
September 23rd of 2022, correct?
Yeah, it was only once I was arrested.
Out of Sheboygan County?
Oh yeah, it was on the boat. Yep.
Okay, and why were you pulled over at that time? Were you pulled over?
No, I bought a boat from the lady on Facebook, and then I got receipts and everything else. She turned around and said I broke into her garage and stole the boat, and that's what it took all this time for me to, for them to get all the evidence, and that's why I got released with no charge whatsoever. I said that time with her.
Okay, how did you make police? Where did you make police contact? Was this at your house? Was this at the location?
I took the boat right back to her.
I said, where did you make police contact?
Right at her house.
Okay, and where was your son? Was he with you?
No,
Okay, do you know where he was?
Yeah, he's with my sister.
Okay.
He's over eating.
And you were charged and eventually convicted of?
No, I was never convicted. They dropped all charges. It's all wrong.
Okay, I'm not done with my question. You were charged and eventually convicted of breaking and entering with felony stolen property, receiving and concealing, and a third count of larceny of building. Is that correct?
Yep, that's what I was being charged with.
Okay. And you were also convicted of those charges, correct?
No, absolutely not. All the charges was dismissed and dropped.
Okay, so it's your statement under oath that these charges were dropped.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And you were arrested again in May of 2023, correct?
Yep, that was on the front of the court for when I missed that one video here. You and Wendy missed one, then the following one, I had the wrong Zoom ID. I was in the wrong room waiting. At the time I called Travers and got back, they already went to lunch, and I talked to the lady, and she said that they already issued a warrant for me. But yeah.
The court had issued a warrant for a show cause or a contempt warrant, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And you were in custody from May 25th until what, June or late July of 2023, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you had actually at that time several warrants, correct?
No, it was just that one I posted bond for from the front of the court.
Okay, so you posted bond. When did you post the bond?
Back in like April or May is when I posted the bond, yeah.
Okay, but you were held until July. Is that your testimony?
Yeah, up in Sheboygan I was.
Oh, up in Sheboygan. So you were actually held on the breaking and entering and receiving, concealing, and larceny of a building. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
so I got all the evidence and everything and seen that exactly what I had in the home. I had receipts and then all the Facebook messages and everything. And then, absolutely released me 100%, no charges. Everything was dropped.
Okay. And what date was that dropped?
It was August 8th.
August 8th. Okay.
Yes.
Is that when you were released from jail?
Absolutely.
August 8th. Okay. So you're in jail from May until August 8th.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you, and again, this warrant was originally from an incident that occurred in September of 2022. and you were arrested in September of 2022, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And,
Can you give me 1 second? Two
Sure.
pens just ran out of ink. Let me just grab a pen.
okay.
All right, we're good.
Okay, and I presume after you're arrested in September of 2022, you had a court date, correct?
No, they just kept, the preliminary exam, and they just kept doing the docket call thing via Zoom.
Okay, but by May of 2023, you had a warrant on that case, correct? And a hold.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
violated the bond because they seen out a warrant out of Antrim County, and that was one of my bond conditions, I guess. No contact with police, or this and that.
So
I
what was
tried
the
to find
what was the warrant out of Antwerp County?
It's for for missing the via Zoom.
Okay,
We're the 13th Circuit, but it's an Antrim County warrant.
got it. And my apologies here. And during that time, you'd agree that the child was with Miss Kent during the majority of the time where you were incarcerated, correct?
Well, from May 25th until July something.
Okay, and during that time, there were never any reported incidents that would pertaining to the child's safety in Miss Kent's care, correct?
Not that I know am ever aware of yet.
Okay, and I'm sure that was, as a concerned father, I'm sure you were happy about that, correct?
Well, absolutely.
Okay, and is it, were you surprised, I guess, was that, in fact, there hasn't, this case has been active for a few years now, and there's been never any reported incidents of concern about the child's safety while in Miss Kent's care since this parenting time schedule was agreed to, correct?
Yeah, because you had to have a supervisor. First is a state worker that supervises the visit.
Right, but I understand that, but there's been no concerning incidents that would affect the child's safety during these visits, correct?
Just when he had his eyeballs split open when she was chasing him around inside McDonald's.
Okay, and you'd agree that my client's a good mother, correct?
I know I cannot agree to that.
Okay.
I mean, when she had to leave his home and everything, the boy was like 3 months old.
Okay, and you kicked her out of the home, correct?
No, protective
Okay.
services made her leave, or they're going to take the baby.
Okay, and again, you have currently there were several instances with last year where the child had very poor attendance, and as indicated by my client, showed up to school in the afternoon while in your care. Why was that?
It wasn't an afternoon. It was a morning. If he was tardy, that's how they marked it. And once I had COVID, so and he's exposed to, he couldn't go for like 14 or whatever the hospital said, 14 or 21 days because he was exposed to COVID too.
Okay, and if the court issues an order awarding my client to be the primary custodial parent, would you comply with that order?
Well, I guess I'd have to. The court ordered it. I was trying to work with her, and and like I was going to say, after this went on and she got better with him, and he was more comfortable and everything with her. And as we talked about it before, down the road here, in the summertime and stuff, maybe that's what she could do, is have an overnight visit here and there, and see how things went and slowly progress from there. And that's how it's all supposed to have been.
Okay, and
because she just texted me back in like April that they might be going back to work, but it'd be here and somewhere in Michigan. But her mom said that she would be able to go ahead and watch the baby, but it'd be somewhere here in Michigan. But she texted me.
Okay, and you have no concern about the child's care while in the care of my client's mother?
Not as far as, him being hurt, no.
Okay, and no concerns of child's care when with my client, correct?
As long as it's supervised.
Okay, and you again, you just testified to two separate instances within less than a year where the child was arrested. Were you arrested in front of the child? It would make sense that perhaps you had supervised visits as well, correct?
Excuse me?
It makes sense that you have supervised visits as well, correct?
Did I have supervised visits?
Yes.
No, I don't have supervised visits.
Okay, but it's true that you testified to two incidences where you were arrested while the child was present and within a year, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it wasn't within a year, don't seem like it was. It could have been.
Okay. And
When did Ellie die? It seemed like it was like a couple of years span in between. Anyways, yes.
okay. Okay, so if in terms of you indicated that he was late all those days because you had COVID, correct?
No, not all days, no.
You mentioned COVID.
Yep, I had COVID there, and yep, I don't know if it's 14 or 21 days. But
So
then other times he'd want to eat at the house instead of at school. They feed him at school also, and then they got to be in the classroom at 8:15. And a lot of mornings I had him dressed and all ready to go, and he'd want to end up having something else at the house. So I'd sit there and feed him, and they'd take him out of school, and within 3 or 4 minutes, they already did the roll call in the classroom. So then he'd be tardy, and actually, not absent, but he'd be tardy.
Okay, and how does he get to school?
I drive him every day.
Okay, and
He's drove and he's picked up every day.
okay, and what kind of religious or moral upbringing do you provide or plan to provide for Daniel?
Oh, we go to church and stuff. I mean, not every Sunday, but we go to church and different things like that. And,
Okay.
I read books to him. I try reading the Bible to him. I know he don't understand it, but I'm always reading books and things like that to him and whatnot. No, we talk about the Lord.
Okay,
And, yep, absolutely. And he's real curious about that kind of stuff.
okay, and when was the do you have any other pending legal matters, criminal matters at this time?
No,
Okay. You indicated that you were arrested. I'm jumping around a little bit, but you were arrested because they saw pill bottles in your car.
Yep.
If they were, I assume they weren't prescribed to you. Is that why?
no, absolutely, 100% prescribed right to me.
Okay. Were they in a pill bottle that didn't have your name on it?
No, they have my name right on it.
Okay.
But he said you're not allowed to drive under, like my methamphetamine for my narcolepsy. And he said you cannot drive while under these medications. I tried telling him to sit around the bottle. Just use care or caution when operating a vessel, machinery, or a vehicle.
Okay, but did he witness you driving?
No, I was alongside the road, let my son go to the bathroom. I got him up to go to the bathroom. I got him in the car seat and went around the side of the wood, went to the bathroom, put him back in the car. And that's when the cop was going by and turned around and come back and I put him in the car seat. And,
Okay, but okay, but he arrested you and they took your son to somewhere to.
I waited right there until I had somebody come and pick him right up. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I have no further questions at this time.
Okay, Mr. Bischoff, so this will be what we'll call redirect. It's if you want to say something more that you don't feel like you got to answer fully. This is your opportunity if you'd like.
All right.
Anything else that you can think of you'd like to say?
Boy, my mind is no, not at this moment. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, you don't have to apologize. That's okay. Then the final question I have for you is, do you have any further witnesses or exhibits? Mr. Bischoff, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, thank you. So defendant rests. Any closing arguments?
I'd like to say a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's all right. We'll
Okay.
hear from Mr. Perlman
All right.
if he would like to. I think.
Yes, Your Honor, again, this initial order was put into place, as the court is aware, in 2020 or in 2019. Again, here we are 4 years later, and whatever the circumstances were, there certainly has been a change of circumstances. We've heard multiple witnesses testify, attributing to my client's ability to care for the child, the relationship between her and the child, her character as it pertains to parenting, and how she is fully devoted and able to be a full-time mother, and I would submit that again, there's we've established that there's a strong bond and emotional tie between my client and the child. That was evident from and without objection from testimony from Mr. Allison, and from my client's mother, and from my client herself. There's certainly a capacity and ability to show the child love, care, and affection. We've heard about her patience and her guidance and her ability to be patient and teach, educate her kid and raise her kid in a ethical way. And we heard that the family, Ms. Kent's family, is very Christian oriented, and it's a very positive environment where she is located with her mother and father, and it's a very positive environment. The child thrives when he's there. She has a significant support system, and as such, the child has a significant support system when with the mother. Again, this is my client has been open about her past, and at this time and for the last several years, she is clean, and she is and there's no substance abuse issues, and it seems that the environment she's in, no one is again, people are not using or abusing any drugs or alcohol, and I think it was very refreshing for the child during this, especially in this extended period of time, to be around that. And we saw changes in his behavior, in his speech, and a lot of positive improvements that just by osmosis of being in a positive environment. My client has always been involved in the child's life, and continues to see the child on a several times a week. There's certainly concerning issues about father's criminal history and drug use. Within less than a year, he was arrested twice with a child present, and drug relating to operating while under the influence of drugs that he wasn't supposed to be driving in his system. And again, another incident, and he was arrested in September. The child wasn't with him, but then again was arrested again in May of this year, and the child was with him. And we heard testimony how when they arrived at the pickup and drop-off location, that the 5-year-old child was in the front seat without a booster. Again, that's certainly against the law, and that raised red flags, and ultimately it turned out that when there was police contact, he had a warrant, and he spent 60 days in jail, over 60 days in jail, but he spent almost 3 months in jail. And the child was with my client again for an extended period of time, and no concerns of safety And it seemed like an overall very positive experience. My client is able to take the child to and from school, and is capable of ensuring that his homework is done and that he's doing everything he needs to do to be successful and on the right track. Again, we've heard multiple witnesses speak to my client's integrity and her effort to just continuously be a better parent and to comply with the court's order. There's been ongoing issues with Mr. Bishaw not complying with the court's or with the parenting time order, leading us to file multiple motions to enforce and show cause, and then multiple instances where he just failed to appear, resulting in a warrant. Again, my client has never withheld any parenting time from him. When she says she's going to be there, when she either coordinates something, and when she says she's going to be there, she's there. She never leaves him hanging. She's there. She's on the ball. She's doing everything she has to do to be a good person and to be a positive person. And it's certainly in the best interest of the child in its totality that he be with my client and my client be the primary custodial parent. Certainly, I'm not disputing that there's a bond between father and the child, but I find it very interesting that the child didn't ask about, even though obviously the shock of seeing your father arrested is going to invoke some emotions, but after that initial instance, I found it very telling that the child didn't ask about his father once. Again, my client believes that it's very important that there be co-parenting in a healthy way, and that but the most important thing is that he's in a positive, the best environment possible. Again, given if he is the primary custodial parent, it's important that during most of the time that he's in the best environment possible, and I think we've established that that's with my client. And certainly Mr. Bishaw, under my client's proposal, would get parenting time and would continue to have that bond with his child, and my client would ensure that happened. But certainly we've established that it's a more positive environment, and that the child is getting has access to all the resources and elements that are needed to from a parent to thrive when with Ms. Kent. So again, I would ask that the court order that the parenting time be modified and that physical custody be modified, awarding my client primary physical custody, and that she receive have the child during the week, during the school week, and that father have parenting time on the weekends, whether that's a few weekends a month or 2 to 3 to 4 weekends a month. That's certainly something that my client would be agreeable to. She doesn't want to take him. She doesn't want to harm the relationship that he has with his child, but it's certainly the focus is the best interest of the child. And again, for the reasons stated, we're requesting my client establish primary physical custody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bishaw. Do you have any closing argument?
Yes, I'd like to make say, as far as the parenting time with Wendy, if the boy was sick the night before or something, I would let her know, be texting her, and then always offer her makeup day and this and that. And also on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's supposed to have her visitation that she always complained about and trying to take before. Those are her choice, not because her mother works. She couldn't do the Tuesdays and Thursdays. I even tried getting her, when you find somebody else, a different supervisor, that's fine, or a different day or a different time. I wouldn't try to, keep him away from her like that. I was really trying to work with her, and I always have been. And like Mr. Perlman said there about drugs, there was no drugs. There's my own medication, and they found that out. I mean, I let them take blood and everything else. I mean, they come back, use my medication, and nowhere does it say, you know. And I even talked to the doctor. There's no way there's anything says I could not drive on those. I mean, I've been on since 2009, I believe. Yep, and I'm 1 block away from the school here, and with my sister, and you know, no problem getting him to school, picking him up. I mean, anything that might occur throughout the day where he gets sick, this and that, or you know, I've always been there at teacher conferences for him. I mean, he's definitely in a loving home here. He's got plenty of support and all about his education, his health, and his well-being. And that's why I had that surgery scheduled for him on his mouth and ring after his birthday. And that way he could have a chance to heal it before he did go to school. So he'd be better, and you know, he could be understood a lot easier. Because as it is, the speech therapist is, you know, I was meeting with them in Ellsworth, you know, some of the words you have to plug his nose or do different things so he could build up pressures so he could pronounce them better, because the palate in his mouth ain't quite long enough since the first surgery. And there's plenty of room here. He's got his own bedroom here at my sister's house. Whereas, you know, the Wendy, there's like 5 people living in a 2 or 3 bedroom trailer, but he's got his own room here, his own bed. I mean, he's got every need possible, and he's got niece and nephew come over and play with him, and he's just, you know, just all, you know, Matt takes him camping. I mean, just everybody, and comes to kind of, he's just a loving, caring, wonderful boy. Even in Eldridge School, all the teachers, you know, every day they'd say, you know, what kind of bond and how great it was, you know, the hi and bye and give me kisses and have a good day, Dad, and all that. There, every day was like that. And I was there for all the parent teachers meetings, everything.
I don't want to interrupt. Anything further, sir?
No, I just want to state that's my goal, to be right here for him and do everything possible and enjoy time with him and make sure, you know, he's in school and best education possible and the best health he can absolutely be. And Wendy, she never went to one what is it down there, the WIC appointment. She never went to one WIC appointment, nothing ever. That down in Blair, and I had many of them. Right up until he just turned 5 years old, I had him. But yes, I was there 100% for him, and whatever needs he needed, I no matter what it takes, I get him. Even the Haberman nipples way back when he was born, you know, I don't care if they had to be shipped from Sheboygan or Traverse City, he'd get them one way or another.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
The court will take the matter under advisement and issue a written opinion. Thank you all.
Thank you.